My annual PSA that you are overthinking your genre. My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. It is absolutely 100% okay for you to submit a book and just call it fantasy. Are there a whole bunch of subgenres that are also completely legitimate that you can call it an urban fantasy or a contemporary fantasy or a high fantasy or an epic fantasy? You can use all of those, yes, absolutely, but you do not have to. This happens in other genres as well, in which we have different types of romances. So it can be a sports romance or a billionaire romance or a rom-com, or like we can name a bunch of different types of romances, but you do not necessarily have to include a subgenre like that when you are submitting to a literary agent. Now, if that agent says that they only represent a certain subgenre within your genre, and so they say, I'm looking for fantasy, but really only contemporary grounded fantasy, then it might be worthwhile specifying that you have a contemporary fantasy or that you have a grounded fantasy. It might be worth putting that in there. Otherwise, they're going to mostly assume that if you are submitting to them that you read their guidelines and that you are submitting the things that they are asking for, but adding one word isn't going to hurt you. But y'all get all up in your feelings about how many different sort of like subgenres and subcategorizations within all of these different genres that you have to have, and you are making this unnecessarily difficult. You do not have to do that to yourself. This is a thing that has come around and become much more popular with the advent of self-publishing and Amazon classifications. As the algorithm has tried to divvy us up into very specific niches, they have come up with more and more classifications and ways to divide us up from one another and ways to categorize us and sell us things. That does not mean that you need to do that when you are submitting your book. Now, when your book gets listed out there, the algorithm's going to do that to you. There's nothing you can do to stop that from happening. But you do not need to have like 3 layers of a subgenre in order to be able to submit when you are querying. You can simply call it a fantasy or a mystery or a thriller. It's going to be okay.